Perfecto, muy bien.
Oh kurwa.
This is my 2004 BMW 525D. I have had this car for 3 years and I use it daily. Before I bought this car, I knew basically nothing about fixing them. But at this point in the 3-year ownership, there's probably not a single bolt that I haven't touched. Lately, because of all the other projects, this car has been put on a back burner. But today, this car is going to be fixed to make it ready for winter.
This is my daily. My first BMW that I ever bought. And this car is the reason why E60 is my favorite platform ever. It's great cars, you get that modern car feeling. And at the same time, it's still an old and pretty simple car to fix. I bought this car around 3 years ago, and this is the car that I learned to wrench on. I knew very little on cars before I bought this car, and basically nothing about how to fix them. When I bought this car had 240,000 kilometers, something like that. And right now it has 325. In the 3 years ownership of this car and 80,000 kilometers, I have did very much work on it. Soon probably not gonna be a single bolt that I haven't touched on it. I have did the engine timing chains, I have did the gearbox oil, I have did almost complete rear suspension, I have replaced the front lower control arms, propeller shaft bearing, and so on and so on. But now lately, since I've been just using this car, not doing any work, so in this episode we will need to overhaul the front. That means replace the top mount bearing on the front struts, then front wheel bearings, then we're gonna overhaul the front calipers, replace the discs, pads, and make it look better, as well as adjust the rear handbrake, and then we will go to the engine compartment and replace glow plugs and glow plug control unit, as well as the filters and oil. Since this car is a pre-phase, it produces 177 horsepower, but it may be tuned, maybe not, who knows. It may have 210 horsepower, maybe not. Who knows? Fog wheel bearings. I actually ordered Techstar, if I remember correctly, brake pads, but they were sold out, so they sent me TRW. So I hope they are good. They are premium part. Then Caliper rebuild kits. Then Zimmerman brake discs. Then also new spring pivot bearings. I have replaced the springs previously, but I didn't replace the pivot bearings. Then also oil and air filter. Since I will be removing the calipers completely to overhaul them with new seals and stuff, I will also clean them up and give them a coat of paint. This is some kind of caliper paint that I have never tried before. This is like the one you apply with a brush. It's supposed to be a bit harder, like more epoxy or at least something in that direction. So we will give this a try. And some brake fluid. There's also some more parts that I have ordered that haven't arrived yet. That is glow plug control unit and all 6 glow plugs. Because I remember from last winter, I should have changed them then, but when I start the car, when it's cold, the car is shaking, puffing blue smoke, and when it heats up in 10 seconds, it disappears. And also there's a few codes for the glow plugs, so I just want to swap them out before winter. Compress the piston back, remove the hose from the grommet. Now as the caliper is still completely solid, I'm gonna loosen the bleed screw and the hose. The wheel bearing bolts seem that they're going to be a lot of fun. Yes, so my plan was actually to just undo the spring from the top, drop it down and just swing it out the way and remove and change the pivot bearing this way. But now as I see, you can't get access to the wheel bearing bolts without dropping the whole knuckle from the shock, so we will need to do that. So at this point, then we can just remove the whole strut completely. Now I will soak them in this strong chemical. Oh my. Let go of my socket. Woo, it's warm. Ah, it's raining, man. So now when it's already so much cleaner, I'm gonna give it a clean with the wire brush as well as the wire wheel on the drill. For this paint to stick, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be, there just needs to be no loose rust bits hanging or something like that. And as long as it's a solid surface, you could say. Forgot these little bad boys. I am gonna reuse the piston because it looks completely fine. I'm gonna replace all the bushings and clean the insides out. Now I'm just gonna put a good layer of the cleaner again. Now I will let them sit. Now while they are cooking, beautiful car. We can remove the wheel bearing and drop the strut. Beautiful. Now there is a 3 13mm bolts here. Like that. Beautiful. Now we have the access to the wheel bearing. First one came out, second one came out, third one came out, and the wheel bearing just fell out. I did not think these bolts are gonna come out that easy. I mean, this seems like the original wheel bearing. I also found some new bump stops. This one looks exactly the same. You can see that there's a lot of play in the bearing. I don't know if it has to be like that, but I'm gonna mark the position where the spring meets the shock. The top is just flush. So now the cap. So first the cap, then the nut, then this thing. I think there should be a washer here if I remember. Yep, there's this washer, and this, and the thing. Now I'm gonna give this thing a clean. Now the washer, the new pivot bearing with the washer on it, like that. Just tight. Then the cap. Just like that, and the spring is still where it's supposed to be here, and the flush here. You can see how much less play there is. Almost no play on the new one, so much play on the old one. I forgot the thing every time. And now the dust boot that I forgot to install. Beautiful. Now the dust boost. He's back in the chat. So this is how it looks when it's dry. Looks pretty damn good. I already did the other side. Bussin'. Now I'm scraping off the paint of the contact surface where the bracket is gonna mount to the knuckle. And also on the points where the pads slide on. So this is good. Removing the plugs. Now push the piston out. Woo! Beautiful. Remove the steel. Now the new O-ring inside, big gasket. And this grommet, you have to push this O-ring up on this lip, that it stays there. And it goes on pretty damn tight so it doesn't fall off again. So the best tactic in my opinion is to put the bottom on, put a screwdriver, push it against the bottom lip with your chest, and then okay, off with the gloves for this one. Doesn't want to stay. Seems like it's on maybe. New cover for the bleeding bolt. Then lube up the piston. Then I'm gonna add air through the hole and try to push the piston in. Silicone spray. Done. Rebuild caliper. The wheel bearing bolts. The wheel bearing bolts are torqued to 110 Newton meters. Now we can put the shock back in. Like that. Nuts. Then this little bolt. Then I'm gonna jack up the knuckle so I know that the shock is seated properly into the unit. Then the top mount bolts are 34 Newton meters. So then the bracket for the stabilizer link is 59. Yup, it just stripped itself. God damn it. God damn it. Here's the threads. Yeah, it's gone. You can see here, it stripped itself out. So I'm gonna run to the hardware store and check if I can find a helicoil kit or something like that. So I'm back. I picked up this helicoil kit. So the way it works is you tap the new threads, you screw this thing in, and then you just screw the bolt in and it should hold. So firstly we need to drill it out with this side, then we're gonna tap it. How deep is this hole? That's good. Then we're gonna add some high strength thread lock. Don't want this thing to coming out. All the thread lock ran off. That should be plenty. Then you take the punch, just hit it. Then it breaks off. Now, the moment of truth. Is this bad boy gonna torque to spec? I really hope so. So bracket to stabilizer, 59 Newton meters. Now the bolt behind that connects the shock to the knuckle is 81 Newton meter. Okay, lady boys, let's continue. Clean the hub, then clean the disc. Beefy big boy. Now the caliper bracket. Caliper bracket bolts are torqued to 110. Perfecto, muy bien. Then the TRV pad. I will put slightly a little bit of grease on the contact points. Like this. And then on with the caliper. Immediately I'm gonna put on the metal clamp so it holds the caliper while I'm working. Looks amazing. Then I'm tightening the brake line. Very lightly grease the pin bolt. The new caps. And then the brake pad wear sensor. Looks pretty good if you ask me.
Pump. Hold. Hold. Pump. Sure.
Now the front calipers are nice. I can just leave the back ugly. I'm not gonna remove them. I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy. I also need to adjust the rear handbrake. It doesn't work. So the cable is on this side, so the adjustment screw has to be on this side. So, I don't know, I guess it looks alright. Definitely better than before. Also put the clip in the other side. Now I will put the car down and go to the post office to pick up the glow plugs and glow plug relay for this car that I have ordered, and also heat the car up so they're easier to remove. All these parts here are for the crash X drive, except for these ones. Ooh, the engine is very hot. Ooh. That should be all bolts. Ooh, it's hot. Now disconnect the spur flap vacuum line. The intake manifold is very clean, almost non-carbon buildup. Because I cleaned it probably 1 year ago, I think. It's oily here, but that's because it was leaking through the connection to the intake. It's so weird. Wow, the connectors remove so easily. Now some rust remover for good luck. Yes. Wow, what? Why is it so easy? What? Oh my god. Look. How? That makes no sense. Has this been replaced? No way. How? So now I know the glow plugs are loose. I can remove the oil filter because I'm gonna change the oil as well. The old filter is absolutely perfect. Not a sign of wear or dirt or anything. I mean, the old ones are Bosch, so they seem to be original. Now the new plugs with slightly bit of anti-seize on them. And the glow plugs are torqued to 13 Newton meter. Then the plugs. So I just had to check where the relay lives. It lives right here. One light is out. Make sure to drop the bolt so it falls into the engine bay. That is a must. You need baby size hands to do this, which I do have, but this is still too. Plug is stuck. Yes. Original BMW. Then the new sucker going in. It's in place. Now I just need to put the nuts back. So the glow plugs and the glow plug relay is done. So the lower bolts on the manifold, right here, this line is 22 Newton meters. The upper ones are 15. There's so much oil in this engine that it didn't even fit all of it into one pan. New air filter. I have taken apart the plastics of an E60 so many times I could do it blindfold. Also new cabin filters. The diesel filter I changed in the beginning of the year. I'm not gonna change it. New oil filter. So to test the car, we was actually gonna go to the track. We have a local track around 1.5 hours away, and there was a track day today. So I ordered, paid and everything, and then I get a message that because of the big wind, the track day is cancelled. Yeah, so that's not gonna happen. They said there was gonna be one more track day this year before winter, so then we might have to do it with another car.
Wow, kurwa, the setup.
I always
thought
do
you
it.
have it down.
Oh, it's very windy today, insane. Like, look at all of this.
O kurwa. Stop! Nice! Stop! No, kurwa.
So as you guys just saw, don't go off-roading with BMW. But anyway, the car is working perfectly fine now. It doesn't puff any kind of blue smoke anymore when you start it up cold in the morning. No smoke, nothing. Starts up perfect. Also, there's no more vibration when brakes are under load because the old discs were warped. So now the suspension is working flawlessly. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and see you in the next one.
Girl, I'm sorry, but I'm not the one you want. I won't last this long, the feelings that is gone. It's a prison in my head when you're laying